This is What If Subaru from ReZero was a Power Ranger Mystic Force Part 1. Let's dive into it. So we start our story off with Subaru Natsuki and how he would become a Power Ranger. Now, I did do a poll on my channel about a lot of different ideas, like the color he should be in terms of the Power Ranger suit, and also the powers that come with the Power Ranger color as well, on top of what type of Power Ranger function or fraction should he be from. It was Overdrive, Mystic Force, Samurai, and I think it was also the OG Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. But you guys picked Mystic Force, which is the most, well, it was the most acceptable one because it makes the most sense in a world where fantasy in the Isekai universe, where the Mystic Force Rangers take place in a mystical universe with magic and wizards are a thing. So it's pretty okay to say that Mystic Force is already going to be an existing Power Ranger group or Power Rangers team that exists within the world of the ReZero universe. So let's dive right into this fanfiction. Now, with the Mystic Force being a thing, we would have to change a little bit about the backstory and the lore of the ReZero universe and the witches of calamity, greed, lust, and all sorts of other witches like that. So we start our story off decades, about centuries near the beginning of the lore of ReZero universe. During a huge climactic war that was involved to take out the witches one by one, a group of low tier or pretty much sub-level knights were formed. A witch team. This team was formed to go after the biggest and worst enemies of the world, the animals of calamity, or the rabbit, the serpent, and the great white whale. These rangers were formed to take out all the most demonistic, devilish, and most disturbing things in this universe, the worst of the worst. And I mean the worst of the worst. Most of the rangers were formed to take out the witches. But when the last witch was formed, the Witch of Calamity, when the last witch was fought, multiple rangers did lose their lives. And after all the witches were supposedly taken care of and supposedly dead, or put to the graveyard, the witch graveyard, most of them were disformed, or the ranger team was, disformed. The only way another ranger will be chosen if someone with pure heart, someone that could lead the next group of generation of Power Rangers, or another Power Ranger that embodied the last member of the Rangers came to this world or was born. A group from the Power Rangers, fraction would find them and, give them what they need to become a ranger, to save the world and to give light to the world. After the rangers were killed, and most of them went into hiding, the other two, the red and blue rangers, those two rangers, they got married and they lived happily ever after, and they did their own thing. Now, with them out of the picture, the OG events of ReZero universe would have happened the same. The Witch of Calamity, all these other witches, they would have happened to go to the witch graveyard. Paradise would have still been made, and a bunch of other, the Sanctuary would have still been made, and everything else along that line, everything that happened before Subaru came to this world, or Isekai to this universe, would have happened, exactly the same. Now, with Subaru being teleported, just for plot reasons, he would still be a love interest or be loved by the Witch of Calamity, or by, I think, Ursa? I don't know her name exactly, but the Witch of Calamity. He would still be loved by her, and he would still find his way to gain the power of redo by death, or return by death. He would still be able to have that power for plot reasons, because that's the main driving point of Subaru's character, and the only thing that keeps him freaking alive in this universe, because the ReZero universe is the hardest Isekai world you can go to. I mean, this nigga gets killed every other episode. Every episode, actually. Damn. He doesn't get a break. Fuck. But what would happen is that Subaru would have just been chilling in his world and his homely abruptly of life, and him going to a nearby gas station, him leaving the convenience store and getting ready to go back home. But before that would happen, Subaru would have heard voices, would have heard slashes, marks, and would have saw a green light blink in his face. As out of nowhere, Subaru was teleported into a new world. Subaru would immediately realize he was in a fantasy world and would have started to get really happy. Now, with Subaru walking around, you would see that Subaru would have been drawn on sort of a pull. He would have been drawn, pulled, kind of guided by some sort of unknown energy, some sort of unknown force. The force that always pushes every other Ranger team to find themselves in the same exact situation they should be in to become the next Ranger team. We see how Subaru would have stopped in a nearby, shop's keep, as he would have opened the door, as he would have seen that it was pretty ran down, but it was still in business and no one was even coming in and out of this place at all. It was ran by an old store clerk that wore a red robe. The old store clerk looked at him, smiling, saying, "You're finally here." He would have basically looked over to Subaru, asking him what's your name. Subaru said, "My name is Subaru Natsuki. What is this place? I don't know why I'm here." As the man says, "I know exactly why you're here. It drew you to here. It called upon you. This morning it was going crazy and it started to settle down. You're the one I've been looking for years. The next member of the Rangers." Subaru would be confused saying the Rangers. Wait, are the Power Rangers a thing in this world? As we can switch back to like the main continuity backstory, basically in this universe, since Subaru is literally a Japanese citizen, he lives in Japan. Subaru does know about the Power Rangers. The Power Rangers, all other stuff. Subaru also does watch the Western Power Ranger stuff, like the stuff down here. He watches the US version of the Power Rangers, the OG or screening of the Power Rangers, and all the other stuff as well. It's just the main continuity in his universe. Only a few other like top 5 Power Ranger teams are actual shows in his universe. So he doesn't know a single thing about the Mystic Force universe, because the Mystic Force Power Rangers only exist in the ReZero universe, in his multiverse, in his own little dimension. Subaru's confused and says that, wait, you're telling me I'm a Power Ranger? Subaru would have started to freak the hell out, saying, "Dude, I was isekai and now I can become a Power Ranger? This is crazy. Where's my other teammates?" As a member, or this old man in the red cloak tells him that you don't have any teammates. "I'm sorry to tell you this, but in my world, and I know you're from a different world because your clothing seems to be different. I had a member on my team that was from a different world, isekai here. But he was rash, careless, and he got away. He died in the Great War." Subaru would have been confused, as he would have been given a little bit of a backstory of this universe's lore a lot earlier than he did in original continuity, so you'll be able to actually pay attention and actually figure out what the hell people are saying around him. As Subaru was told about the lore of this universe, about how it was a great battle years ago to take out all the witches, or at least the ones that were doing mass harm. Most of the witches got into trouble or got in the way of us taking down the other witches that were causing mass calamity, destruction and death and carnage. So we had no choice but to tell them to stop. But in between us stopping them and them getting in our way, it came for naught that they found themselves dead, or more or less killed in the crossfire. Subaru being confused, saying, "So you're telling me that I'm going to be a Power Ranger?" The wizard goes on and says that, "Well, yes, but with this new formed power, you're going to have to find your path, your way. Now, there's only a multitude of different Rangers around the entire world, and most of them are in hiding, or most of them are using their powers for stupid things. Very careless and, well, not careless, more selfish reasons. But Subaru Natsuki, I know within my heart of hearts, the Green Ranger can choose anybody he ever so chooses, but he chose you. Each Ranger is chosen off of their personality, their wits, and their power, and who they are as a person. Subaru, you have the power, the heart, the gall, the soul, the will to be the best of the best. You have the indiscourageable soul, the unmatched potential of the human spirit within your body. You can strive to any goal. All you gotta do is believe. All you gotta do is reach deep down in your heart of hearts and find out who you are. Now, there might be a lot of problems, a lot of trials and tribulations in your future. But you, Subaru Natsuki, you have the strength. And now you have the power. As he hands Subaru a wand, as Subaru says, I know this universe is a little different, but in my universe, a Power Ranger is normally handed like a coin, a dagger with some sort of crystal in it, or like a telephone, right? Like a telephone. You can move around and you do some sort of dance with it. He says, yeah, my friend told me about his universe's version of the Power Rangers. But you are a Mystic Ranger now, a pillar in this universe. Not many people know about the Rangers, but those with high power know about their legacy, know about the trials and tribulations they went through, and know about how much they sacrificed to keep this world at least to this level. The world is in disarray. The king, the royal position is out of ruin. Subaru is confused, saying, what do you mean the royal position? The man stops himself, saying that you'll find out soon enough everything about this world. All you need to know is that you can save, well, you can save everyone, Subaru. All you gotta do is use your power. It might not be from your soul, it might not be from the Ranger, it might not be from the grid, but it can come from you. As Subaru is told to leave now, as the man tells him that he is ready to go, he's found the next user, the next holder for the Power Ranger. As he walks away, as Subaru is confused, he looks back after getting pushed out of the old shop cavern, and he looks back and the shop is gone. It's just an alleyway now. Subaru being confused, saying, what the hell? As Subaru is hella confused, as he looked down at the wand, as the wand transforms and becomes something a little bit more familiar to Subaru's memories and emotions, and turns into the gold phone morphine from Mystic Force. Subaru's confused, but also kind of impressed by this, as he starts to think of himself, looking back at the old memories he had watching Power Rangers as a kid, and realizes that most of them were really powerful, had some sort of ancient power locked away in them, and they had strength. So Subaru tries to figure out what he has. Now, with the whole intervention of the morphing grid trying to, well, take Subaru to this world on top of the Witch of Calamity wanting Subaru as well, him being isekai into this universe, the pit is simple, the pit is straightforward. Subaru would have been pulled by two fractions, the power of good, the power of his soul, and on top of that, the power of the Witch of Calamity. So, with Subaru being a Power Ranger, having this new power, having this newfound info about this world already a little bit earlier in the continuity, a lot of things would change differently. With this whole talk he had with the man, basically it wouldn't change too much because Subaru would still find his way into in the alleyway with the, well, muggers. As Subaru would have looked at the muggers saying, well, it's time for you to get a little taste of your medicine. As Subaru tries to yell out some sort of Power Rangers slang or something from another show, nothing happens. Absolutely zero zinch, nothing. As the man look at him saying, bro, why are you dancing? They proceed to jump the shit out of Subaru, bro. They start to jump the nigga. They start to jump him, bro. I mean, absolutely dog washing, bro. Subaru's getting absolutely pummeled, trying to figure out how the hell did he not morph, since he literally did everything. He did a little dance, a little shimmy, a little moving his arms around in frantic positions, saying power up, and all the other bullshit. Now, Subaru is saved last minute after was it Sith? Or after Sith or the thief girl runs by him saying that she doesn't know him, blah blah blah, and just dips on him. Subaru is thinking he's about to die here, but we see that, well, a white-haired woman appears, saving Subaru last minute. Subaru's confused, saying, so who are you? As she does say that she's in a rush and she needs to go find who took her pendant, and she does stay there to help and pretty much comfort Subaru as he's passed out. She also does look at the morphing grid or the morpher in his pocket, but just thinks it's something close to him, as she doesn't know all the legends or even what a morpher looks like, but she does know these stories about the Power Rangers, about how they were the Mystic Rangers. They're more pronounced. They're more like their name is more than Mystic Rangers. That's what they're called. But for Power Rangers and Mystic Rangers, for narration, I'm going to be switching between both of those. But if someone's talking about the Rangers in like a first person or a third, like in a first person, like conversation wise, I'm going to say Mystic Rangers. Okay, just for confirmation, guys. Don't want you guys to be confused. So we see that Subaru looks up as he wakes up to Puck's face saying, "What the hell is this? What the hell?" As Subaru just looks at them saying, "So, who are you guys?" As she, presents herself as Satella. She pronounces herself or introduces herself as Satella, as that's her name, as Subaru talks to her a little bit more. Now, the whole conversation between them going around trying to figure out where her pendant is, all the other stuff, does happen somewhat the same. Besides Subaru in between them talking and then walking, he does look at the little phone he has with the morpher, trying to figure out what he can use it for. How he doesn't know it works just like his phone, and it's synced up to the time of this universe as well. So he does know how to tell the time. He can also take pictures and stuff like that, and this works just like his other phone. He does still have his phone from his world on him, so he can still use that as a bargaining chip for future episodes, just like in the main continuity of the anime. Now, with Subaru having the morpher on him now, this unlocks another path entirely and can give him a lot of a different outlook on what he can use it for. Now, Subaru knows he can use it like another phone. He can tell time on it. He can take pictures of it. And he can also use a flashlight on it. But the flashlight can also be turned into a flashbang. Pretty much simple. He can use his phone or his morpher to make a flashbang. Kind of like DBZ, but a lot more just a flashbang in general. Like it doesn't like do a sonic boom or anything, but it does unleash a huge bright green light, blinding anybody in a 6 to 7 foot radius, making a huge like distraction for giving Tatsumi around roughly 10 seconds to get the hell out of Dodge. To just run for it, right? As he runs for it, But with that happening, we see how Subaru kind of just chills out for a second as they sit on a nearby bridge as they start to talk a little bit more. Now, Subaru and, Satella, whatever. Still Cynthia, or I don't know. Fuck it, I just said her name. Holy hell. They go on their journey. Now, they start to walk a little bit more as he starts to actually think to himself, so we should go back to your footsteps, trace the past. Where did you go first? Where were you at? And how did you lose the pin to begin with? She says that it was stolen and it wasn't lost. As Subaru says, sure, but that's the same thing. But they start to go back and forth as a little bit of friendly and kind of romantic banter comes between them. As Subaru kind of sees himself liking her a lot, thinking she's, beautiful. As Subaru and, Cynthia, their relationship kind of, gets a basis for it. But this relationship right here only is, pretty much, it only matters to Subaru because, as you know, so far in this continuity for his first run, nothing really changes. So we see how Subaru and Cynthia go to the slums of the capital and sees that something's going down here. They open up, or he goes into a nearby auction off area or auction off place in these slums as he sees and he understands that the environment here is very different from when he was in the capital or in the city because, everybody here is kind of slumming down in the grimps. They're kind of working on where they come from. They're pretty much trying to survive. Live long, live prosperous, live strong. That's what one of the guys said that gave them the, information on where the barn or the place they needed to go was, the auction off area. So we see that, Subaru says he's going to go in first and case out the joint as Subaru walks in there. Now, Subaru isn't like too confident, but he is same confident in his continuity because he's still Subaru. He's not like crazy, scared or anything because he's Subaru, not Ski. Like, off rip, his first go, he wasn't scared at all. Now, on top of the faction that he has a Power Ranger now, he kind of is feeling himself a little bit more, but not too much since he doesn't know how to freaking morph, which is like the main thing a Power Ranger needs to know. We see that Subaru walks up in there and looks around. Subaru is absolutely one blitzed by somebody behind him, but with his newfound Power Ranger form and him being connected to a magical version of the power grid or the morphing grid, we see that he dodges out of the blue as fast as possible, almost tripping on a nearby piece of wood, or what he thought it was wood is actually old man Logan, or old man, the giant guy, pretty much flips over him and sees his dead, lifeless corpse on the ground. He jumps up as he looks over, trying to figure out where the girl is, as she absolutely comes up behind him and tries to shank him one more good time. Subaru dodges again as he's surprised at how fast he's freaking moving. Like, it's even surprising for him. Like, he's disorientated too. Like, his brain is kind of like spinning right now. He doesn't know how fast he's moving right now because he's never moved this fast in his entire fucking life. Because he does have increased superhuman stamina, strength, speed, and agility in his base form, but not so crazy that, he can go toe-to-toe with Elsa at all. Like, he ain't like that. He ain't like that. He ain't like that. Subaru ain't no, Dino, the Dino Force, Dino Charger, I don't remember what it was called, but they had powers within their normal states before they morphed, and they were able to throw hands. Like, they were able to throw hands without morphing. But we see that Subaru isn't all like that. But we do know that the Rangers and Mystic Force do have access to their own specific magic besides just morphing. So they're wizards on top of that. So we see that Subaru kind of tries to dodge more and more as he uses some sort of energy and blasts green light out of his hands, out of nowhere. As it kind of disorientates him a little bit, as the girl dodges immediately, chopping off both of Subaru's arms. I mean, absolutely discombobulates him, treats him like Mr. Potato, absolutely cooks that man. Subaru yells out in pain as he gets grabbed by the throat as, well, surprise, surprise, Cynthia shows up. She shoots a mass amount of energy towards Elsa. As Elsa dodges out of it, since the room is very dark, she tosses Subaru's cut up body towards Elsa as she gets knocked off her balance, and they both get sliced in two. I mean, they get cooked. Subaru wakes up out of a panic in the middle of, well, was before. Now, I didn't really introduce you because you already know how episode 1 of ReZero went. Subaru restarts and comes back to life where he was when he was asking the man at the little apple stand, about where he is and the information about this world. Now, he walks away as he also asks this guy, is this the first time you saw me here? As he says, what are you talking about, kid? Get on my face. As Subaru walks away. Now, since Subaru didn't start off all the way to the beginning, he still has his morpher, and he still is in the same type of world. So Subaru is kind of confused on where he is. But in this continuity, he puts it together 2 and 2 pretty fast, saying that he must be restarting things. He must be redoing things or something. As Subaru looks at his hands, looks at the morpher, and kind of puts 2 together. With this world having freaking Power Rangers in it, magic, and a bunch of other crap, he kind of puts 2 together pretty fast in this continuity, a lot faster than he originally would have. He turns it, or calls it, Return by Death still, as he looks at the morpher, saying that if he was really going to go up against that girl again, and maybe save those people, he had to work fast. He had to actually think. But Subaru, being Subaru, would have gone through another loop. Subaru would have done the same thing he did in the original loop, trying to figure out where Cynthia was, as he would have still called her Cynthia in public, trying to get her attention, as this would actually make her mad because she didn't tell him this in this continuity. In this timeline, he didn't tell her that. So him telling her that, she gets mad at him, saying, why would you call me the Witch of Calamity's name like that? You're an asshole. Like, bro, what? Why would you call me that? As Subaru's confused, saying, wait, what? Hold on, what? You told me to call you that. And she said, I don't know what type of sick joke you're saying or trying to play on me, but it's not funny. As when they're talking, it kind of seems like Subaru is like kind of a decoy because, well, the same elf girl, or the same, not the same elf girl, but the same pretty much thief from the first loop jumps up and grabs her pendant and dips out of there fast as hell. As she said, what were you a decoy? As he says, no, of course not. And she says, whatever, as she runs after the girl. Subaru's confused, saying, what? Wait, stop, wait! As he runs after her once again, trying to figure out where she's going. Now, you're probably wondering, how do we just skip the whole, how do we just skip the entire timeline Subaru had right after, because he went straight to the same area, the marketplace area, the auction house with Felt and Old Man Rom. Put it simple, Subaru being a Power Ranger, it does a big, massive time lapse, like a butterfly effect in this world. You gotta understand, when you change something, even in a what if, even in a story, something's bound to change, even when it's not even supposed to. Because that's the problem about time. Even when Subaru does rewind, sometimes his loop changes. Even with the things he says, even how he acts, his face expressions, it can change the entire fabric of that loop, having it happen exactly different. I mean, vastly different. It's mainly hitches on what Subaru reacts, what he does differently in this universe. Because he just happened to find himself able to see Cynthia earlier on. He goes after her. Centella goes after her, and bada boom, she still gets mad at him. They get into the battle, and what happens after that goes down, we see that he kind of goes on his own path and tries to figure out where the hell Felt was going. So he goes after Felt and finds her at the marketplace. He does put two together and tries to bargain with them with his stuff of the bag of stuff he has from his home world, a bag of chips, his phone, and a bunch of other stuff. He talks to Old Man Ram about it and tries to bargain with him about it as, well, pretty much simple. He says, yeah, you can go for a good amount, pretty penny, as he shows him what his phone can do, not his morpher, but his phone can do, and he's kind of, impressed. He's pretty impressed. So Subaru smiles and says, okay, bet. So how much can I get for it? Like 20, he says maximum, or, well, not even maximum, the least he can get for it is like 20 silver, 20 royal coins, or 20 silver coins, or 20 golden coins, or whatever. I don't know how that amounts to, probably like a couple K, maybe. So we see that he's pretty impressed by this. So he still tries to bargain with Elsa when Elsa shows up. And we know her name is Elsa, or the seductive killer lady, which me personally, I might be a goon, but she better say enough of me glazing over crazy women, because holy shit, have you seen Future Diary? No, oh my god, I need me a That's neither here or there. Go down in the comments if you think Future Diary was a good anime or not. But let's dive right into this animation. So what happens is you see that Subaru kind of tries to bargain with her, saying that his phone it's some sort of ancient tool that can use, and it can go for a pretty penny. Now he tries to bargain it with Felt, and they start to talk, and eventually he does get a good bargain. He actually is about to buy this shit. He about to win, right? Economical means go for the win. But we see that Subaru gets told or asked, what is he going to do with the Cynthia? And he says, like a dumbass, not even knowing what this word is coming to, because he doesn't even know the presidential state. He does know it's a new king, or someone's going to be pretty much voted to be a new ruler of the kingdom. But he doesn't know that this pendant means a lot more than he thinks it does. So, pretty simple, he does say he's going to give it to its original owner. As we all know, this loop comes to an end. Subaru gets his ass done in, bro. The group tries to win. They get killed. Subaru gets cut in half after giving a good little fight on top of his increased strength and durability. But he isn't super, he isn't no Deadpool. So he gets killed once again and gets re-looped, returned by death. So Subaru gets fucking frustrated and starts to cuss himself, and he walks past and walks away from the shopkeeper, pretty much the Apple guy. So the Appa guy, that's what they call it in this universe. Appas.
Whoa, calm down, Jamal. Don't pull out the 9.
Appas. So Subaru tries to figure out how he's going to do this. The first loop he did, he got killed. He got both of them killed. and he tries to figure out a different path. So he walks away, and he walks around, and he finds himself back in the alleyway with the thugs. As he looks over to the thugs and says, "So, you guys want to fight me? Alright, bet then." He takes out his morpher and tries to wish. I mean, he puts his heart and soul into it. He really wants to morph right now. But he gets shanked midway while he's grabbing the morpher and wishing in his hand, saying, "Please morph, please morph." His eyes are closed, and he's saying this again and again and again. The guy's just assuming he's an easy lick and just shanked in the dick and took his shit, and that loop restarts. So that loop is very short, and Subaru was a little bit of a dumbass in that one, but either way, it doesn't really matter. So he gets switched back to his fourth loop, as Subaru's freaking pissed, bro. But he tries to put two together. So he goes after and tries to figure out where Cynthia is, and he finds his way back into the alleyway once again, like it's a canon event, or it's a certain part of his timeline, or in his loop that he can't avoid. Last time he realized when he was getting killed, or when he was bleeding out, when they left with his stuff, they said that they gotta get out of here before the guards show up. So he automatically figures out that it must be guards in this universe. So as soon as the guys say this, he says, "Well, I'll learn my lesson from going after you guys once again." And he starts yelling, "Guards! Guards, help me! They're trying to touch me! Guards!" They start to freak the hell out, say, whoa, wait, what are you doing, dude? What are you doing, dude? As he starts to absolutely yell his brains out. They start to freak out as they kind of gain their composure, saying, "Well, we weren't really scared because the guards ain't even around here this time of day. And on top of that, we were just scared because he started yelling like a girl." So they start to try to, get him once again. But we see that some sort of redhead kid or redhead guard or person with a sword shows up and says, "So, leave that dude alone." As Reinhardt shows up and actually tells them to leave him alone. Before he goes for his sword, the guys scatter because they ain't gonna fuck with the knight, bro. They know better. So they dip out of there immediately. What happens is Super looks over and says, "So, thanks for saving me." The same thing happens, saying that he's a knight and that he's so courageous and he's awesome and trying to butter him up. But he also has a mission in his mind. He wants to get the pendant, save the people, and get them out there before, also shows up and kills everybody. So he tells him that if he finds a girl with silver hair and purple eyes, tell her not to go to, the cabin, or not to go to the slums of the city. Not to go there because something's about to go down. He also tells him to keep that and pass it on, as he also tells him his name as well and runs off. Reinhardt's confused, but graciously accepts the offer, being a knight, being courageous, and says he definitely will do that just as he was asked to do. So after Subaru leaves and looks at the morpher, saying that he needs this thing to work now more than ever. He needs this to work, as he wants to save everybody. He wants to do it, but him not being access or being, not being able to use a morpher yet, he tries to put two together. On his way to the place, he finds his path, or finds his way back to the shop guild that is reappeared near the marketplace, or the house. So he walks in the marketplace, or he walks in the guild place that the Red Wizard was in before. As the Red Wizard is gone, he says that he's left this place up to Subaru, as he gives Subaru a coin. The coin is connected to Subaru, so Subaru can also summon this pocket dimension cabin, or pretty much shopkeep, whenever he needs it, because it has a portal in it that takes him to somewhere else. He finds his way into a pocket dimension, as in this universe, in this little pocket dimension, time moves incredibly fast in here, but moves normal in there. So pretty simple, Subaru's in there for like a few hours. It's only a couple minutes max in the real world, or in the Subaru universe, or in the outside world. So we see that Subaru walks in there and sees himself in a same type of layout as the OG Mystic Force base. He's smiling and says he has his own base now, his own lair, as he looks over and sees that it's a box of coins that correlate with each member of the Morphing Grid, or the Mystic Force Ranger team. Anybody that's a Mystic Force Ranger can come here, and that can pretty much make a team. So Subaru kind of keeps it in mind that he can probably come here, and one day he might be able to find another ranger here and ask them for help. But for now, no ranger is here, so he has to rely on himself and his memories and his, well, power. So Subaru walks off and tries to figure out what the hell he can do as he looks over and looks around as he finds his way to some sort of instructions, a type of oath, and how deep in his heart of hearts he needs to want it. He needs to need it. Not want it, need it. His soul, his body, his mind, his heart. He needs to want to morph. Not want, he needs to morph. That's the mental state he needs to obtain. He needs to get to become a Mystic Force Ranger. He needs to be able to use the Mystic Force Ranger power to save those he loves and cherishes the most. If it's not enough emotional connection, if it's not enough emotional power in his heart of hearts to morph, he cannot. So, plain simple, Subaru needs to morph when it needs to come to him. Like, basically, he can morph whenever he needs to, but for now, he needs to control his emotions the best he can, because his morphine is dependent on his emotions alone. So Subaru is kind of shocked, but is kind of happy that he has this information now. Subaru walks out of there and sees a cloak in there. A cloak that kind of looks the same as his outfit. It's an orange and white cloak, orange, black, and white cloak, as he puts it on him, and it's kind of a accessory to his jumpsuit. Subaru walks out of there and finds his way back into the cavern, or back into the auction house. Now, Super did walk past the OG, wizard suit. The other, the suits, like the little suits they have on before they morph the Mystic Force Rangers. These suits, they had those on, and those were like their wizard outfits when they were trained to use their magic and all that other stuff. So you see how Subaru walked past the Green Ranger suit, and not really want to put that on, but he will put that on in later parts. In the later parts, he will put that on when it really gets real crazy, like season 2, season 3 of this What If. But we see how Subaru walks up in the auction house and tries to figure out what to do. So they do the same little bargain. He tries to buy the stuff from them, and yada yada yada, boom 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 boom. Now the same thing happens, same thing pops off, but before that happens, before he starts to get a little bit in there, he is told that Felt does want to buy his thing with the Cynthia, or the pendant, but he does get told that he needs to stay here because the other auctioneer is coming, and she wants to know both sides and how much she's willing to pay her. Now he does get kind of confused, but just says, "Damn it!" As they get interrupted by Cynthia showing up, Satella showing up, and basically asking, "So it was you? Who are you?" As Subaru says, As Subaru kind of talks to her, and they kind of have the same conversation a little bit. Now, before that pops off, we see that, Elsa shows up. She looks up, "Oh man, I was looking forward to a little bit of a bargaining tool, but I guess now I'm more excited than I've ever been." As she's in a fight now, and she's able to go toe-to-toe with them now. So we see that Elsa, last minute, is saved by Puck, as Puck puts up a force field around her, saving her last minute. Now, they start the fight back-to-back, as Elsa's putting up a pretty good fight against Old Man Rom, Felt, and, Satella, or Cynthia. As they start to go toe-to-toe, blow to blow, as she's actually putting up a pretty good fight. Now, before Felt jumps in and tries to fight, she actually is told to leave now, as Subaru gains a lot more confidence and a heart of a hero, a heart of gold, a lot earlier now in this continuity. He tells her to go now after Old Man Rom gets absolutely wounded and gets dropped to the ground. He's not dead, but he gets dropped to the ground as, Felt dips out of there fast as hell. Goes immediately after Subaru gives her a opening to leave, after he kicks a door, or kicks more or less a little coffee table up in the ground, stopping the blade from hitting Felt before she can run off. So Felt runs off and tries to find help, as most of the people in there are not trying to help her, because the fuck? Like, this is like the anime hood. Like, they do not want to help you, bro. As they start to close all their windows, as she tries to yell out for help, "Please, please help us. She's going to kill them." as we get switched back to the main fight, the little nitty gritty. Subaru has to dodge and weave more and more as we see that Elsa's kind of impressed by his speed, but she says that he's gonna have to try harder than that as Subaru gets cut on his arm, a pretty deep cut actually. Some stitches are gonna be needed as Subaru gets sent down to the ground. Subaru gets back up and says that that's enough from you as Subaru goes for a final attack. He shoots a huge blast of green energy once again out of his hand as, well, Elsa gets hit by it a little bit, being pushed into a main attack by, well, Cynthia. Cynthia is absolutely confused because she dodges out of this way. She dodges out of it. I mean, dodges. Absolutely cutting through Subaru. Subaru dodges midway as his cloak gets cut in two. He's not hurt, but basically, Elsa goes straight for Cynthia's neck. Out of nowhere, Reinhardt shows up. My king!
Oh, this nigga gay, bro.
Tries to go toe-to-toe, blow-to-blow. As Elsa's confused, saying, wow, it's you, the knight. Reinhardt. He goes on about his family lineage and says that, well, I think I'm gonna have to go I'm gonna have to not hold back on you. He's not using his sword that he has on him, but he does use a sword on the nearby floor in the auction house and says that this is their end. This is when it comes to an end. This is it. As they have to fight toe-to-toe, as Reinhardt is absolutely giving her the works without even using his actual sword his family owns. The sword that will give him a finishing blow no matter what. He is toying with this girl. Here goes toe-to-blow, blow-to-blow with this girl, and is not even trying to put it simple, as Reinhardt gets pushed back once more. Reinhardt pushes Elsa back once more. Elsa pretty much loses one of her daggers, but Reinhardt's told by the side that he or she has more than one dagger. Reinhardt figures this out pretty quickly with the help of Subaru and dodges immediately after the other dagger is thrown towards him. She starts to run around saying that she doesn't know if she doesn't have her daggers or her claws. She doesn't have her fangs, she'll use her claws. She doesn't have her claws, she'll use her hands. She doesn't have her hands, she'll use her body. She will not lose as she starts to go toe-to-toe, blow-to-blow once more again and again and again. As the fight gets really, it gets tense. Reinhardt is actually kind of caught off guard as Elsa pulls out a third dagger and tries to go straight for the nigga's jugular. For that split second, Reinhardt is actually exposed. He's gonna get killed. As, well, Subaru locks in and morphs. As this happens, we see that Subaru is about to morph as he gets hit with a huge blast of energy or magic from Elsa, actually. Elsa kicks a freaking table towards, Subaru and knocks him down. Elsa is actually caught off guard by Subaru jumping in behind her and her pretty much countering him, giving Reinhardt enough time to weave and dodge out of the way, clocking her straight in the noggin with a good solid left hook, knocking her down to the ground. He says it's enough time playing games as she does, or is kind of, shocked by this, as Reinhardt throws a huge blast of magical energy right after Old Man Rom gets healed by Cynthia using her magic. The mana is taken out of the air after Super does get a little bit of confirmation about the whole, mana out of the air stuff before it gets absolutely knocked the fuck out by the, door or the table, as Reinhardt uses a final strike towards Elsa. Elsa is presumed, dead. Nothing's left. The whole auction house is fucking cooked. So we see that, and I don't even know about you, but Old Man Rom's bill on fixing this shit about to be insane. That's neither here or there. We see that Subaru gets up and is kind of rubbing his chest, trying to figure out what the hell went down, and saying that, damn, you're pretty strong, dude. They had to chat it up a little bit, as Reinhardt kind of is going to ask Subaru about that green energy that was around him before he got knocked down. But what happens is, Elsa jumps out of the rubble and is, actually alive. So she tries to go straight for Cynthia, trying to knock her down. Trying to cut her. As Subaru, in a split second, morphs into the Green Ranger. Green Ranger! He morphs and pretty much catches her blade straight off, hand to hand. Just catches that shit like a freaking, like it's a wooden bat. catches that shit and pretty much rips at her for hand, kicking her down to the ground. Subaru looks at her saying, "Is that the best you got?" As Subaru is donning his green morphine suit. Finally, he's morphed. We see as Subaru summons a wand out of his hand as the wand transforms into a sword as Subaru gets into a position and says that, "Is that all you got?" As they look at each other, as she says, "Well, it's been years, decades since I've seen a ranger. The last ranger I killed, you must be the new one, huh?" As she chuckles and smiles, and then later, soon, she'll come back for him. And next time, you won't have any help. You won't have any friends to save you. She dips out of there knowing that she won't be able to really win this fight on top of a pretty handy mage, on top of a world famous knight and a freaking Power Ranger. Yeah, she ain't gonna win this shit. So she dips out of there fast as hell. As Subaru is really happy by this. As Reinhardt is shocked and is kind of hella impressed on top of Cynthia as well. Cynthia has heard stories about the Mystic Rangers and been shown illustrations of them, but never in her entire life would she think she would see one, especially not be saved by a ranger. So we see that Subaru smiles as he kind of passes out, demorphing, because while he was grabbing the knife, he was being a little cocky, and before his body was completely morphed, in that little, transition of the suit forming around his body, his stomach was the last part of his body that was covered. So he got absolutely gutted by Elsa before she can dip out. So simple, he passes out. Cynthia hails him. As before he passes out, he does ask her one thing to basically get his payment for saving her. "What's your name?" As she chuckles and says, It's Amelia. As we give it up here, guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you guys like and subscribe. And as always, guys, have a blessed day. Stay blessed. This is